Hey guys, it's Julie Pankey. Welcome to Live in the Hive. This is a really exciting Live in the Hive because we're testing out doing an evening event because normally we do Thursdays at 11 and we want to make sure that we can do times that are good for everyone. So we're testing out an evening Live in the Hive, and tonight we have Cailey with us, and she is amazing. Cailey is an Instagram expert. She is the Instagram consultant and expert that we use here at JMPankey Partners. And I wanted to do a call with her because I think social media and Instagram in particularly, and we're mostly going to talk about Instagram tonight, but social media is so, so, so important. So welcome, Cailey.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us this evening. So let's jump right in. Tell me first how you got into being an Instagram manager. I don't even know if that's the right term. I think it was funny. I found Cailey through word of mouth. She's based here she's based in Southern New Hampshire, right? And I'm based in Southern Maine. So it's really awesome to have found somebody that's local that I could have coffee with if I want to. And she's just someone that we use to kind of pick her brain. And she looks super young, right? And she is a dynamo. So she's a total Instagram dynamo. So that's not a term probably. But tell me, how you got started and doing Instagram management and a little bit about what you do for your customers primarily here in the Seacoast.
All right, so I went to UNH. I was in the business school, and I was definitely majorly interested in marketing. I loved the concept of it, and right when I graduated, my dad was actually involved in Planet Fitness. So right out of graduation, I started getting involved in Planet Fitness marketing. And then I got another job as an event manager at weddings. And I started helping out them with their social media marketing. And then a couple other companies contacted them and asked who was doing it. And it kind of just ran from there. Then I ended up having 5 full-time clients of running their social media. And I ended up quitting both the jobs that I started with, the Planet Fitness and the event manager. And from there, it just kind of escalated. So my main thing is that I will take on a client full time and I do a year-long contract with them and they pay me monthly. And if it's not a client like that, then I do consultations where we either meet once a month, twice a month, a 1-week takeover. I have a bunch of different packages that I do just to try to help you get kick-started onto your Instagram.
Awesome. And so we have over the last probably 5 or 6 years have built a pretty decent following, right, on our social media. And I consult with a lot of spas, and social media is always a concern for them. Whether they say I don't have enough time to do it myself, I don't have enough money to pay someone to do it. And so I think that, the relationship that we have is pretty awesome because we do the Instagram here internally, but we brought you on sort of as an Instagram consultant. So that's been really awesome because it's helped us learn so that we can figure out how to do it internally. But also, we've had you do a takeover, as well as I'm sure we'll have you do many more takeovers in the course of our relationship. Lots of people say, my clients will say, some of my B&B clients will say, oh, I don't need to do Instagram. My clients aren't there. My target audience isn't there. Day spas will say, it's all like the young kids that are on Instagram. My customers are not on Instagram. So who is on Instagram? What are the demographics and why do we need to care?
So Instagram has over 500 million daily users. 500 million people to me is insane. And it's important to note that that's not just millennials. Like, although millennials love it and they're the ones that really got Instagram rolling and triggered, the number of online adults who are now on Instagram it's risen 400% in the last 2 years. So adults are getting on it more and more. So I don't believe in the whole my target audience isn't there, my target market isn't there, it's just for millennials. I don't find that true. And my favorite statistic of them all is that approximately 80% of Instagram users want to follow businesses to learn about them. So I look at it, every business out there should be on Instagram. If you have something to share, you have a product, you have a service, whatever you're doing, there's someone out there that's going to find it interesting.
That's awesome. I just thought of something and then it went out of my head, of course. Um, so our community, the SpaHive, is full of busy entrepreneurs. What do you say to people that say, I just don't have the time to do it?
So I hear I just don't have the time to do it, and my options are either make the time to do it or hire someone who has the time, because I feel it's so important. You can make such a presence. I just did a takeover for someone last week, and they were doing their own Instagram, and their average reach per week was 700, which that's not bad. I mean, you're reaching 700 people every week. That's more than you could ever get through emailing and trying to make that'd be a lot of hard work going door to door or anything like that. But if you're doing it right, my 1 week takeover, I reached 4,000 at the end. So if you're reaching 4,000 people every week, like by the end of the month, they're going to reach 16,000 people. So if you don't have the time, find someone who does, because you are never going to be able to reach those numbers without social media.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. So when we have every 2 weeks, we do a consulting call with Cailey. And I know you love metrics. So to go back to the metrics, like every single week, Cailey comes with a PowerPoint presentation that's probably like 5 to 7 pages long with data and metrics, which is so awesome. So tell me, what's your favorite metric? Because, I harp on, sorry, I have my notes and of course my phone shut down. I harp on followers, right? I'm like, why don't I have more followers? I need more followers. And Cailey says, who cares if you have the followers, they're not engaging with you. So whether you have 1,000 followers or 5,000 followers, if they're not engaging, then what does it matter? So for us, I was up to about 5,000 followers. We had to really clean out my Instagram, right? We had to dump followers. We had to dump people that I was following over time. Don't do this on your own. Because you don't want to get in Instagram trouble. So with Cailey's guidance, we cleaned out ghost followers and things like that. But tell me, we all want to say, I have 20,000 followers and look at me, I'm an influencer. But you tell me, I know you have a relatively small personal following, but your engagement is higher than most people with 10,000 followers. You have, I don't know what your numbers are, but you have a huge, huge, huge engagement with your followers. So tell me, what are your favorite metrics?
So I have, this is a problem that I kind of run into with almost all my clients, is their number one thing is I want to get more followers. I want to get more followers. And that's my big thing is I don't care about your followers. Yes, it's nice that someone finds your feed interesting and they want to follow you, but I want them to actually be involved. I want them to actually be interested. And that's why I'm so against that whole like follow and unfollow technique of just following people to get them to follow you back. And then once they do, you unfollow them. That's not someone that's actually genuinely interested in your business. So I look at engagement as like a huge, huge number for me, as far as, wow, someone took the time to look at my profile after they saw this, or they liked the photo, or they commented the photo. They took the time to actually take it in. That means a lot to me. So when I'm looking at analytics, I don't want to see how many followers I gained necessarily that week. I want to see how many people engage with what I was putting up there and what type of things I put up there made people engage so I can continue to post those types of things. And then another really metric that I like is I love seeing how many people you reach, because that's a huge deal to me. And reach plays off of engagement. If you have a good engagement, Instagram's going to keep popping your post into an explore page or a hashtag that you used, and you're going to get more reach. So I love looking at reach as far as like what I used in an example just a little bit ago. Like, you reached 4,000 people in 1 week. That's insane. 4,000 people are now familiar with your business. So
that's awesome. And then if they click through to your website and then ultimately buy from you, that's success, right?
Exactly.
So Cailey, you've given my team some really easy but effective tips. So again, guys, at JMPankey Partners, we use Cailey as an Instagram consultant. So she just helps a couple hours a week to monitor what we're doing and give us tips and tricks on how to do it better, so that we can be more effective doing it here in-house. So Cailey, tell me, without giving away all of your secrets, what are the top 4 things that someone can do now? So when they get off the phone, or in the next, say, 2 weeks, because, we like to measure things by 2-week intervals, to vamp up their Instagram account, let's say a day spa.
So my number one thing that I don't necessarily think it's the most important, but I do think that it helps a lot, and it's kind of like my favorite part of it, is creating a cohesive theme. I like to look at a page and immediately be wowed by it, because whether everything is like the exact same shade of blue, or it's all this some type of product and it all is different angles of, and it looks cool, I want to land on an Instagram page and be like, wow, their highlights look cool, I want to scroll through those, their feed looks cool, I want to scroll down, like, this is a cool page. So that's part of like the reason I really fell in love with Instagram, was creating this like whole cohesive theme. And I think that definitely helps draw people to your business when you are engaging with them, or when they find a photo of yours and they click back and they see, oh wow, her whole feed is cool. So I definitely think a cohesive theme would be one of my tips. And then number 2 would be give people a reason to follow you. You can't just be a business on Instagram posting about what you have. You want to be, are you going to inspire them? Are you going to enlighten them? Are you going to teach them something? What are you going to do on Instagram that's going to make people follow you? If you don't have any of those things and you are just a product or service, then offer them something like you're going to run giveaways. If you mention this post when you come in, you get 20% off your facial, that kind of thing, so that people want to stay following you and they have a reason to be there. And then number 3, I would say be honest and organic. This is really hard for people, because fake followers, you can find them, you can buy them, you can do whatever you want, and they'll give you that satisfaction of, wow, I have 10,000 followers, but they're not going to do anything for you. You won't receive engagement from them, and they'll actually do more damage than anything. And what happens a lot of times is someone will buy them, or somehow your thing gets hacked and you get them. And yeah, it might be great for a little that you built up, you got an extra 500 or whatever from it. But Instagram's going to find those accounts eventually and shut them down. It happens to everyone. It's gonna happen to you. And
sounds like we're speaking of firsthand experience.
If that does happen to you, and Instagram, it takes a little bit to build it back, because Instagram now almost looks at your account as like, oh, it's kind of spam. We don't want to be pushing that onto people. We probably won't put that in the explore page. Well, we'll keep that. We won't do that. And it's called like shadow banning. Instagram basically shadow bans you when you participate in that kind of stuff. So honesty and organic, definitely important. And then my last tip would be, as much as Instagram is about like filters and staging things, I think being unique and letting your own voice shine through does so much more to your brand. I'm not saying to make it your personal page, but give it a personality. Have people know that when they click on it, like, they might find something funny, or they might find something inspirational. They're going to be, they're into it. Give it a personality. So those would be my top 4.
I think those are great tips. Everyone is always talking about the latest algorithms and hashtags and how you should be doing it. You hashtag in the post, in the comments, you're doing all these crazy things. So I know, one reason that we brought Cailey on is so that we don't have to know what Instagram wants from us, because I don't understand algorithms and what they're doing half the time, and I know none of my customers and clients do either. So what is the golden rule as of today?
So the algorithm is constantly always changing, and no one actually 100% knows what it is. It's kind of a trial and error based on, luckily I run a lot of accounts, so I can kind of, one that did really well last week, I can try something on it this week and see how it performs. So I do have a lot of like trial and error stuff, but I would say the golden rule is definitely different for every account. But as far as hashtags go, don't abuse them. So I look at it as, if you hashtag 30 things every single time you post, and they're the exact same 30 things, you're abusing hashtags. You're not making them unique to each post. You're doing the exact same copy, paste on everything. And you have 30 hashtags that probably aren't even relevant to the post if you're just doing them on every single thing. And another thing with hashtags is, people are always like, the bigger, the better. Everybody wants to look at hashtags and be like, oh my God, this has 80 million posts in it. I have to use that hashtag. I look at that, I see 80 million posts in it, and I'm like, heck no, I am not using that. If 80 million people are posting photos with that hashtag, think of how fast you're in the Explore page for like a millisecond, and then everybody else's posts are covering you up. So the exposure you get from that is not going to be worth it.
That, I think, is a great tip. Because you automatically go and research, like, what are the biggest hashtags, right? Like, what's the most popular? And then you throw them into your post thinking that's what you should do. And, it makes perfect sense that, you're only going to be on the, what is that feed?
Explore page.
The Explore page for like and that's not the purpose, right?
Not the goal at all. You want to be in the Explore page for long enough for people to actually explore your page. So is, if you're doing all, I actually did, when I first started doing it, I like ran an experiment doing one that I did all hashtags over millions. So some were 17 million, some were 80 million, like you name it, a bunch of millions. And if you looked at the hashtag reach on the analytics, it was 7. I reached 7 people with that. And normally, like, I can reach 300 people through a hashtags.
Right,
so
right.
It's just not worth it. I think it's important to mix up them. Like, you can have a hashtag that maybe has 1,000 things in it. You can have a hashtag with 10,000 things in it, or 20,000, but don't do 30 hashtags of all 80 million.
And another question, so this is kind of like our bonus question. What's the difference between a business page and a personal page? So I'm a business, right? But I'm a consultant. So, I'm a person rather than a product brand or a brick and mortar location. What's the benefit of someone, well, A, what's the difference between the business page and a personal page? And what's the benefit of someone converting over to a straight up business page and not using it as also a personal page?
So this one is tough for me. I actually think it like hurts a little, because there's a huge belief that being a business on Instagram hurts your exposure and reach. A lot of people say if you stay as a personal page, you're going to get more exposure. And the reason behind that belief is that Instagram isn't going to want to promote a business profile to an Explore page unless you're paying for it with a sponsored ad. Instagram wants you to pay for stuff. Makes sense. But I don't believe that this is true. I think that I get the exact same reach, the exact same engagement as I have on I keep my own Instagram a personal account, and I'm not trying to build my own personal Instagram. I'm working for my clients. I'm building theirs. But I look at my personal page and I still grow on it, and my business accounts grow way faster. I think that the benefits of having a business account outweigh that fear that you're not going to get the exposure. I think that that a lot of times the algorithm changes and that affects reach and exposure, and people immediately are like, well, I switched to a business account and then everything went to trash. I don't necessarily think that happened. I think the algorithm changes all the time. I think the algorithm changed and you got caught in the old one. Your post got lost in the mix. So I look at a business account as, if you are a business, I think you should have a business account. You get the benefit of having the call button right on it, email button right on it, a website link right there. Like it makes it look like a legit business. And I think it also makes people more willing to follow you. If you remember earlier, we learned that 80% of people on Instagram want to follow businesses. If they don't know you're 100% a business, they're not going to be just so willing to follow, especially you. Your JMPankey is your Instagram name. They might be a little weary of following that since they don't really know what it is. But now they know it's a business. They know it has a website. They know you can call and email. And the business profile is so beneficial because those insights mean the world to me. I want to look at how many people your post reach. You can see all of that stuff. You can see how many comments things got. It counts up how many people it reached, the engagement, how many people saw it through a hashtag. All of those things are so important to me. So I look at it as, if you want to be continuously growing your business, you should be a business page on Instagram so you can learn from it.
Good tip. So if anybody has any questions, you can definitely, at the bottom of the screen, there's a chat button, and you can send me any questions and I can ask Cailey any questions. Also, we'll be posting this interview in the SpaHive page so that people can access it. And of course, if you have any questions when it's posted on the SpaHive Facebook page, and we'll probably post it on the JMPankey page as well, you can ask a question, and Cailey's always following, or I can always ask her the question as well. One question that came in, Cailey, is how many times should I post a week? So today we're talking specifically about Instagram. I know that this is something that we've talked about and we've tested on my account, and I know you've tested on many accounts. But what would be your advice if someone asks, should I be posting once a day, 7 days a week, 10 times a day, 3 times a week? What's sort of your go-to answer now?
I think that a lot of things play into this answer. I would love to say it's different for everyone because that's true, but I'll give you a little more than that. I think that if you have great content that you know is going to be, it's similar to posts that I've done before, and it's going to do well, you could get away with posting 5 times a week. You have an engaged following, they interact with your stuff, your posts are still gaining reach, and you have awesome content that you can devote the time to pushing. Then you can post 5 days a week. You go for it. If you are limited on content and your followers are not that engaged, they're interested in you, but they don't want to be bombarded by you unless you're going to have something more to offer them. So maybe posting 2 or 3 times a week is better for you. I have some accounts that I can post 5 times a week and they're still golden. People are still interested. They still get likes. They still get comments. It's great. I have some accounts that I can only really post 2 times a week and receive great engagement on them. But that doesn't mean I don't story all the time. I look at stories as it's kind of like a cheap way to get a post in without having to actually post it. And it can be a little more experimental. You don't have to have it be cohesive with your feed and have it flow and a lot of stuff like that. So if there is something that you want to put up on social media, story it.
Mm-hmm. And a question that came up in my mind is, so what if you don't have the content? Like, sometimes it's hard to be working and taking pictures and videos all the time. So I can speak for myself, right? I meet a client and, I know I should be taking pictures of where I am and what I'm doing, and I'm immersed in the moment. So you're a hairstylist, you're a massage therapist, you're immersed in your moments. And then at the end of the day, you're like, oh, darn it. Like, I could have had some really great Instagram pictures or stories or videos. So what would be your tip on how to get that done? So what do people want to see? What do they care about? And if you don't have the time, what else can you be posting? Like, can you be sharing other people's stuff? Can you be posting, like, I like to see more educational things. So when the people that I follow, I don't see, I don't like to see like shameless posts about their brand, so I don't want to always see, I'm doing a massage special for $59.95 and, just all about what they do over and over and over again. Like, I like to see educational content that ties back to the business because it helps make me better informed on the type of business that they are. So and all of that, what do you think?
So I think, for example, if we go back to the first part, I think that if you went to a spa today and you went and checked it out or whatever, oops, I didn't get any pictures. Like, now I don't have anything to post. I look at that as go on their Instagram and see what they've posted and go through and see which one did the best, which post did they do recently that has great engagement. Screenshot it, put it on yours, tag them in it, and say, I was here today. And they're going to love it that you're giving them a shout out, and you love it because easy content. They just supplied it for you. And then I also think I like to stay ahead in the Instagram game in the sense that, like, the week before, I know what I'm posting. I have it all planned, basically. So it makes it easier. It's less of a stressful, like, oh my God, I haven't posted in 4 days. I don't know what I'm going to post. So I think to prevent that would be, if you could, do a shoot with some type of photographer to get a mix of content that you can use. Even if you get 15 photos out of it, that's incredible. Even if you got 5 photos out of it, that you can pop them in whenever you don't have content. So I think just trying to stay ahead of it, and you won't feel stressed of like, oh, I just did this today and I didn't get any pictures. Look at it as who can I get the pictures from that was involved in it, or do I have backup of something else?
Right. That's great. That's awesome. One question came in: if it's not digging too deep in your bag of secrets, other than hashtags and well-branded content, what are some fast, easy ways to increase your reach?
I would say engaging with other Instagram accounts is a great way to really increase your reach, because I look at it as like that's how I've become connected with so many businesses, is they've liked one of my photos, or I saw them they used a hashtag that I was at. I mean, that is hashtags, but somehow I found their company, and then we engaged in some sort of, they liked my post, I liked their post, some type of thing that gives you that connection. And once you establish that connection, you are kind of linked to that account for a little while. So your stuff might show up in their explore page. And then they would be like, hey, I think I recently saw a post from Julie. Like, let me check her account. Oh, I did see, you know what? I'm going to follow her. This stuff is cool. So I think that engaging with people is a huge thing. I think a lot of businesses are so focused on trying to get cool content up, cool stories up, hashtagging their things, following people, that they forget to interact with the people that are already following them. And I think that's a huge thing. That also helps your engagement as well, because people are like, oh, Julie always likes my stuff. Now I see Julie's stuff on my feed. I'm going to like it too.
Yeah, I think that's a great tip, because that's something that we've started doing more since we started, engaging with you. And even more probably in the last, say, month to 6 weeks. And we've seen maybe speak just a little bit to my account on the difference of, say, 3 weeks ago to today, just a couple engagement numbers.
Yeah. So I would say
based on what, we've done a lot of engaging. So we've been randomly, engaging with people rather than just posting.
So I would say you were probably averaging a reach of about 70 accounts, maybe. I think it was at 23, probably about a little over a month ago, we were probably at 23, was how many accounts we were reaching every week. And then it went to 70. And just this past week, we hit 476. So I look at that as like, that's crazy numbers that's just from engaging with people.
So I think that's using just some real account experience, using my account as an example.
Definitely.
And let's see, there's one more question. How much time per day do you spend on one account a day in order to get that large of an increase of an engagement? So obviously I know the answer for my own account, and the answer is not very much. But, Cailey, what would you say? And I know this is a conversation between you and Marianne and myself that we've had because, we all have limited amounts of time. So we've taken the stance that we post less right now and story more and engage more. So we're taking the time that we use to curate content and post to instead story and engage. But what would be your rule of thumb on how much time do you think you need to spend a day engaging with people? What do you do with the accounts that you actually manage?
So I've got it down to like a pretty good science, and I have realized through consultations that if I tell someone like, hey, you should spend an hour every day engaging, it's not the same as when I spend an hour every day engaging, because I'm a lot more focused on who I'm engaging with and what type of hashtags I'm looking at and things like that. So it kind of doesn't have a definitive answer because it depends on what accounts you're engaging with and if they're actually going to benefit you. I look at it as, I think so many people are so focused on posting that they don't do the engagement. So any type of engagement is going to help it out. And you can see from yourself of, hey, I was on it the other day and I scrolled through and I liked a bunch of things. I commented a bunch of things. And now look at it. By the way, it doesn't update till midnight, which is so annoying. If you look at your stats and you see that your reach was 100 people and you spent an hour that day looking at everything, it's not going to change till midnight. So that is something to note. But I look at that as you kind of learn from it yourself. Like, what I did today, I spent a lot of time engaging with people, and now look at the numbers that I reached today. That definitely did something.
Right. And one last question, and we're at our time limit, but one last question is like, kind of what's your rule? Like, who should we be engaging with? So, for me, I guess, and I'm going to just only speak to my account because I can use it as sort of a case study. But, for me, I'm engaging right in like-minded people. So people maybe that do even what I do, and people that, could be my potential customers, right? So if I'm a day spa, who do I engage with? I have all my followers. How do I tell what one of those people I should actually be engaging with? Like, is there a rule, or do I just pick 10 a day randomly?
I don't think that there's necessarily a rule to it, but I do think that you should be a little bit conscious of who you're doing it with and try and see how it affects you. But I also think a lot of people look at it as, oh, they're competition. I shouldn't be friends with them. I shouldn't engage with them. But a lot of times, we're limited to our regions. And if you have someone that is doing the exact same thing as you in another region, there's no reason why you shouldn't reach out to them and say, hey, I love what you're doing and you want to share any tips. I learned this and it worked for me. What are you doing? And make friends with them. And you have to think too, look at your circle and all the people you know, and then all the people that they know from there. If you engage with Joe Schmo, he might know a spa that Julie could help. It doesn't really matter in that sense, but you have to learn from who you're engaging with in the sense, is this getting me anywhere? All these people that I reached yesterday, did that really do much? So it is a learning process, but I don't think that you should ever think engaging with them isn't going to give me anything, because you never know. I've picked up more clients from just random things like that happening.
Right. And so we have to cut it short now. But again, everyone, we'll post this in the SpaHive. Cailey, if someone wants to get a hold of you, how can they find you? What's your Instagram? Would you like to share your email address if anyone has any questions?
Definitely. So my Instagram handle is Cailey A. White, and my name is spelled Cailey, the letter A, White. And then my email is CaileyAnnaWhite@gmail.com.
Awesome. And so thank you so much for joining us. Instagram is a huge topic. I know we could talk more and more and more, and I'm sure we'll have you back. And if everyone would be interested, I am trying to get Cailey to come to our SpaHive event in Norwich, Connecticut. That's going to be September 22nd and 23rd, and I would love for her to be there for everyone to meet and kind of pick her brain. So that is to be determined, so stay tuned. But in the meantime, you can always post questions right in the SpaHive page, and I will always go to Cailey, and she's watching things as well, to answer questions. And you are welcome to reach out to Cailey directly. She's a wealth of knowledge, and we're so excited to have her on the JMPankey Partners team and help us grow our Instagram. And we're excited to bring her to you, all of our spa and hotel clients. So thanks, Cailey.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
And we'll see you again next week live in the Hive. Have a great evening.